Forgive me, brothers. I'm getting ready to sin again. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. I'm sure you guys have seen in the comments that I got a message from the Queen herself. Her Royal Majesty came all the way down from her throne and said that I threw her under the bus, and I believe the lying white boy. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Chris. What am I going to do with you? She believes that I hate her. And any one of my subs is on my channel will tell you that I don't, number one, I don't hate women. Number two, I don't hate you. And as I said in the comments, I actually give you more props than everybody else, because at least you know halfway what you're doing. The rest of them don't. The rest of them are just screaming and yelling. I could go in on you, but the thing is, I'm not mad at you. We had a ha at your expense. It is what it is. That's what you put out there. You can't build yourself up, sit on the throne, throw down edicts, and then cry and beg for mercy. Doesn't work that way. But instead of you taking your swings, taking your licks, just like everybody else on YouTube, if I make a faux pas, I got to take my licks. But I decided to do it this way. And I think I was saying on I think it was Hangout with new possibilities. I said on a Hangout, when I talk to my people, when I talk to our women, especially, no matter how crazy they are, and no matter how angry I might get, especially if it's in public, I try to talk to y'all like I would talk to my daughter. And some of my daughters would tell you, if you knew them, that sometimes my language can get strong. And sometimes I cut deep because I'm trying to get a point across. That's how come you will never hear me in public on these airwaves call you guys bitches, hoes, and sluts, for a very good reason, because I would never call my daughter that, or even their mother, even though her mother, their mother, I got hit by the bus twice, same bus twice. That's something my grandmother told me. If you're going to get hit by a bus, you might as well get hit by the same bus twice. That's what happened to me. Anyway, even though their mother has done some dirt and kind of put a crease in my life, that's something I would never call her. In fact, I broke up over a girlfriend because she got mad and she called their mother, my ex, out her name. First thing I told her, I said, there's three people that you can't, there's three, there's four people, four kinds of women you can't call out of their name around me. That's my mother's, that's my grandmother's included, my sisters, my daughters, and the mother of my children. I draw the line. So I talk to you. I'm going to talk to you just like I talk to Chrissy. I'm going to talk to you like I talk to my own daughter. This craziness that's going on YouTube that you're at the center of makes no sense. Whatever it is that you're on, that you want to spark the ire of black men and paint a target on your back, makes no sense, because it's not constructive. Like I said, and I've said this before, when you talk about the out of wedlock birth rate and women choosing better and choosing better mates, I'm with you. No wedding. The first time I heard of you was no wedding, no womb. I was with you because you come from old school parents, and that's the way my parents, and that's the way I talk to my daughters. The environment has changed. It's something that you don't grasp. If you're going to listen to my channel, listen to all of it, not just the pieces that resonate with you. I know women want to feel, and they want to feel good. I am not a cheerleader. I am a coach. When I talk to my guys and my subs, they can tell you I'm not a cheerleader. I'm the coach. It is not that my channel is not here to make you feel good. That goes for the guys, and that goes for the women that actually want to be on it. The few women that actually stick to it, get out of their feelings and listen to what I'm saying, like Chrissy. Chrissy probably doesn't like me very much, but the thing is, what I say makes sense. Just like sometimes my daughter wouldn't like me very much if I wasn't her father. But the thing is, when it comes out of my mouth, she knows that I'm giving her the best information. I'm not going to tell her anything foolish. We come from a no-nonsense family. My grandmother was a no-nonsense woman. She was a sharecropper. My mother comes from sharecropping folks in Louisiana. That's no nonsense. Any girl, any woman that I've ever been with can tell you I can be fun, I can tell jokes, but I'm basically, when it comes down to the business, I'm no nonsense. I'm not going to tell you something that's wrong. I'm not going to lie to you to make you feel better. There's a lot of people, a lot of my subs, I got 1,500 subs now, which is way more than I ever thought I would get on this channel, because my message is no nonsense. My channel is not there to entertain people. I thought at best I would get 500 subs. I got 1,500. I don't have, people ask me, why don't you have a Patreon page? Or why don't you do a PayPal or whatever? For the same reason the teacher that taught me, my religious teacher that taught me, is that it is my mission to help uplift my people the best way I can. And my people are at such a state that either they don't have the ability or the foreknowledge to actually pay for what I give. In the white world, yeah, I can make money. There's people in real life that want me to do analysis or want me to do things for them that they will pay for. Pay a good amount of coin for, because they're going to make money. My mission is to my people. That's what I'm doing. So that's why I am talking to you like I would talk to my daughter. All this stuff and quoting facts in facts about what's going on in the black community, those stats have been around for a long time. But the thing is, as educated as you are, and I say that to a lot of black women, as educated as you guys are, the degrees that you hold, and I know damn well you know how to pick up a freaking book and study, because the literature is there. It's online. If I can find it. You guys have been online for freaking, 7 years? If I can find it in 6 months, you can find it in less. You could have found it in 7 years. If you've been working on this problem for all this time about improving the lives of women, having them make better choices, and you're a woman, how come a guy, an old guy at that, can find it in less time than that? Your job as a coach, or supposed to be a coach, as a teacher, is not to light fires, it's to put them out. Your job as an educated woman, because most of these women here online are not that educated. I'm listening to them. I don't care what their degree says. I'm listening to them. You have this wonderful tool called Google that you can search anything, and you can go deep into the details of finding out why people do certain things. Hell, I got 2 channels. You can go to both my channels. I have more answers about why women do what they do than you do. How come I can find it and you can't? It doesn't make sense. You're not trying, sweetie. Pick up a book. Stop reading statistics and blaming people. There's a reason that you assign blame. You've been in a corporate job. You've been in board meetings. Why do you assign blame to people? Because you want to fix the problem, not know who to fire. You want to fix the problem. You want to fix if you're on a mission to fix your people. I could care less who you're married to. Are you trying to fix your people? If you're going to be on this side, fix your people. Fix those women. Help them realize who they are, what they are, and how they can go about to affect change. There's cutting edge stuff all around you, and you're not taking advantage of it. I came to YouTube. I don't have to come to YouTube. I'm not making any money off of YouTube. I have nothing to sell. I just told that to a brother, one of my subs, who wanted me to start something so he can contribute. I have nothing to sell. Even me monetizing my videos is just an experiment. You know how it rolls in Los Angeles if you're in the conscious community. If I'm giving out basically the same information I'm giving out here on YouTube for free, I can put on my African garb, I can get my PowerPoints together, I can print me a little book just like you did and go out and sell it. In fact, I've been asked to write books on what I know, more than just black people, unfortunately. In fact, most of the information that I know, white people are perfectly willing to pay for. Perfectly willing to pay for. In fact, there was a guy online from Great Britain that was willing to pay me to argue with him. The reason I give it away for free is because my people need help. I don't squawk about people making money, helping my folks. I don't squawk that you want to make money and you have a business helping people. I got people all around me that I help that take my information, disseminate it, and they make money. They'll write a book, or they'll do a tape, or they'll formulate a lecture around research that I may have done. I have no problem with it. As long as you're helping my people, I don't have a problem with it. And I've been listening to you for the last week or two. Normally, okay, you're just Christelyn Karazin. This is your stick. This is what you do. This is your platform. It's how you make money. This is your business. I don't have an issue with that. But the last couple of weeks, it's like when you cried, I said, okay, you don't know what you're doing. At first, I thought you were just being deceitful and disingenuous. And I really came down to the point that you really don't know what you're doing. You're not giving these women what they need. And I was just talking to one of my circle mates, and she's a Jamaican woman. She lives up in Toronto. She's been begging me for the last 5 years to write a relationship book. And like I've said before, I don't think it's my place to get into female relationships with black women. I think that's black women's place to do that for themselves, because I can't give birth. I don't have enough estrogen. My teaching voice is not soft. If I had been born a couple hours earlier, I'd have been a double Gemini, or literally Mr. Spock, a black Mr. Spock. But I was born a couple hours later, and a little bit of cancer slipped in. So I do have compassion. That's probably the difference between me giving this stuff away for free and me cheating you out of your retirement or your 401k. For the lack of a horse, I lost the battle. Is what it is. But like I was saying in my comment to you, you have way too much education. Where you went to school is very expensive. People don't know about it. If you're not in Los Angeles, you don't know about where she went to school at. It's not a famous school, but it's very expensive. There's two schools that very few people know about that are in Los Angeles and that are highly rated, but they're not nationally known. Occidental is one because Barack Obama went there. That's in Pasadena. Where she went to school is the other. Highly rated, very expensive schools. You have a very expensive education. You know how to read, you know how to study. Quoting statistics, using psychology and using propaganda is all fine. It's fine to sell. It's not fine to heal. There's a difference between Edward Bernays, the father of propaganda, and his uncle, Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology. One was to heal and one was to sell. Which side are you on? The same techniques you use to sell are the same techniques you use to heal. You're not teaching on your channel. You're not teaching these women what they need to know. I'm only one person, and I'm not a young man. Me trying to teach my men what they need to know to elevate their consciousness is a big enough task as it is. To try to bring women along the same task is a little much. That's how come I've never done relationships. I'm a Gnostic. I'm a male Gnostic at that. Gnostics are I'm a Gemini and I'm a Gnostic. I'm a no nonsense person when it comes to this stuff. I don't care about your feelings. I care about you getting better, just like a coach does. That's what I used to tell my boys when I used to coach them in basketball years ago. You're going to win, you're going to lose, but your job is to get better. That's your only job. My son's a semi-pro basketball. I should tell him that every day. Your job is to get better. Winning and losing will come. Winning will come, but your job is to get a little bit better every day. That's how you're supposed to teach. That's how you're supposed to coach. How are you going to get these women out of their morass to the point where they can actually be effective? The point is not for them to feel better. That's not the point. The point is for them to be better. You can make them feel better, and then when they look up 2-3 years from now, they're in the same place. Feelings will not help you progress. My teacher used to say, you have to struggle with your material. You yourself are not struggling with the material. If you struggle with the material, you'll find out that you would be a better person, that you wouldn't be angry, that you wouldn't be hurt. But you're not doing it. Why are you not doing it? That's all. That's my question. I'm looking at so-called Brick Towel. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at the other women online. How come you're not doing it? All you're doing is making the guys mad. That's all you're doing. All you're doing is splitting the chasm wider. And you think you're doing them a service. If you're teaching them this kind of stuff, what do you think? What do you think they're going to carry to the other side? If you're teaching them bad habits on this side, what do you think they're going to carry to the other side? Say you do destroy the relationship between black men and black women, and black women do wholesale leave to the others, go to jump the fence, go to the other side, and they pick up other ethnic groups. They're going to have to all the destruction that you wrought on this side has to be cleaned up. All the bad habits that you get that they gain so that you could separate these people. Now you got to go to over this side and heal instead of making them better people in the first place. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you not struggling. Everybody's got to struggle. It's not about your comfort. At the end of the day, it's about you being a better person. That includes you, Brook and Blue, Nicole Little, whoever they are. At the end of the day, it's about you being a better person. For my guys, they will tell you that I don't care about their feelings at the end of the day. My information is strong. It's very strong. Sergeant Willie P will tell you my information is very strong. But at the end of the day, it's about you being a better person, about you figuring out this mess. Because I've figured out this mess on a global scale. I'm bringing this down to the local scale and making it particular to my people. And there's some things that you can do something about, and there's other things that you can't. I did a whole series. I don't even know if you looked at it. Go look at the Monahan report. Just go look at it. Just go look, because I broke it down for a reason. I broke it down initially because I had to explain it to white people, to my white MGTOWs, because they're as big a sheep as we are. The only difference between white people and black people at this particular level is the color of your wool. That's the only difference. And if you send those black women unprepared over to the other side of that fence, never have the experience of even going to high school with white people, they're up for a lot of problems. And you know that. A whole lot of problems. There's one thing working with another culture. There's a whole different story when you have to adapt to that culture in your household. My son is married to a mixed woman. Even though she was raised by her black aunt, she still has issues. She still has identity issues. It is not that simple. Now, let's talk about something. I basically pretty much know who you are. Not saying know who you are as in person because I've never met you. But the funny thing is, I was engaged to a woman that grew up not too far from where you grew up in the neighborhood. Because I was listening to you talk, I said, wait a minute, the speech pattern is too similar. The speech pattern is way too similar. Now she's 60 years old now, so she's way older than you are, but I guess it's a small world. And even though Southern California has 20 million people, the degrees of separation is very small. So when I saw you drinking in your cocktail hour, in your hangout, I had flashbacks. So now I said, okay, now I understand you. So we're not going to delve into that. One thing I can say, I recognize the anxiety issues. I know where it comes from because she suffered from them. But this is not a video to go in on you. Now this is not a video to pull up your skirt. This is basically an appeal. I want you to be better. I want you to teach these women. I want you to actually dig in, pick up some books, do some work. Stop with all the fluff. Stop with all the propaganda. If you want to throw black men under the bus every once in a while, hey, it's all good. You want to bash every now and then, it's all good. But in between those licks, start teaching. Stop being lazy. Very good research. Promises that I can keep. Did a whole bunch of research. I even put up the freaking video of her giving the lecture about why single mothers do what they do. And she nailed it. Because what she said in that lecture, what they said in that book is the same thing that girl back in 1986 in that CBS special said, the exact same thing. The exact same thing. You're being lazy. You're not doing research. Hell, you could start with my esoteric videos on female nature. What I'm saying is spread throughout the MGTOW community and spread across the IBMOR community. A lot of people are actually using it. It's a lot deeper than that, but that's just the surface. That's just the surface dirt. I didn't go deeply into female nature because I'm not teaching females. I'm teaching guys. I may have to do it. I may have to do a esoteric series just for women because you guys aren't doing it, which upsets me. You guys aren't doing. You guys are supposed to be doing. You're getting paid to do it. Do your job. That's what makes me upset. You're getting paid to do it. Do your job. Do the work. Help your people. You might not think I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I guess you do. Because if I mention Overwrite middle school, I think it's a middle school now. Overwrite middle school, you know that I know what I'm talking about. If I mention Avenue I and 20th, you know I know what I'm talking about. If I mention Pueblo, you know that I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm a real LA guy, okay? I'm a real LA guy. Maybe if I want to get more personal with you, I will actually engage with that. I don't think it's necessary. I don't want my cloaks lifted, and I don't think you want your skirts either. So I'm not going to lift your skirts. What I would like for you to do is actually get in and study just like I am. This stuff doesn't come out of nowhere. This stuff comes out of a lot of hard work. That's how come I get 3,000 views on a hangout, an 8-hour hangout. I got a MGTOW channel that I don't even monetize because I promised I wouldn't, because it's there to help people. It's there to contribute. What I would suggest to you, if you really want to help, if you really want to get in deep, you really want to get into female nature deep, go to the Kabbalah Center, at least register. And every now and then go to the Kabbalah. You got the biggest Jewish Kabbalah Center in the whole world, in North America, down here in Los Angeles. That's basically designed to teach Jewish women. They got a lot of good stuff. Go there, peruse it, see what they have, because they talk about this stuff all the time, especially from the feminine. So you can get to the core of what's going on with these women. I suggested a book. I tell it to my guys all the time. If you want to understand what goes on with females, with women especially, the best book that was ever written about it is The Alchemy of Love and Lust by Teresa Crenshaw. It is the hand Bible if you want to understand women and their sexuality. Written by a woman, basically for women and their emotions and the chemicals that run through their body. In fact, the book is so technical, she had to give an audio book that kind of skims it down because the book is so technical. It goes into so much detail. Every woman should read it. Every woman should sit down with her daughter and read it, so that they can understand what's going on with them and why you shouldn't do what you're doing. You, my dear, should know that, because this is your job. Put the wine down, worry about the makeup a little less, and get into the core of healing these women. I don't care about you. I don't care about your feelings being hurt. I know what your problem is, but I don't care about what your feelings being hurt. Your problem is something that you have to deal with. I've said it. I've said it on the slide to a couple of people in a comment section, but I'm not going to broadcast it over the air. And I don't even know you personally. We would probably, I couldn't say we wouldn't probably never meet. LA is a big place, and if you got a car, black people normally gravitate around certain areas, and there are times that black people will meet, will actually run across each other. Even where you live now, I just shook my head. It makes sense. Here's what it is. But that's an aside. Like you always said, there's a lot of messed up stuff that's in the black community. There's been a lot of messed up stuff in the black community. So I'm on YouTube to figure out what the core of this messed up stuff is. And the rabbit hole is very deep. There's a core of us that are still talking about it. When Jason Black's movie comes out, whether you like him or not, when Jason Black's movie come out, Gentrified, look at it. In fact, you can look at the trailer. And when I actually get to the point where I'm going to do this in my series about the Negro question, you can connect the dots. Instead of being angry with me and all in your feelings, you need to learn from me. Your brick tiles, like a lot of some of these brothers that I had to tell, you need to sit down, shut up, and learn. Put your bong down, put your drink down, put your feelings aside, get out of your woman, get into your logic, and sit down, shut up, and learn. Because this is stuff that you need to hear. There's stuff going on a global scale, but it's not helping you here. And this is stuff that you guys are going to need to hear, male or female. Even though it's designed for men, you still need to hear it. Stop trying to figure out a way to beat the game. Start trying to figure out how you're going to get to the core of the problem. You haven't got to the core of the problem. Brooklyn Blue, like Sergeant Willie P. Brooklyn Blue, in between her rambling and her craziness, admitted it. That's how come I put it up. She knows what the problem is. The problem with black women is self-reflection. The basic problem with black women, and I can tell you exactly what it is because I've said it before. There's three things that's wrong with black women, going all the way back, probably further, probably into slavery. And the last one is more recent. The two core problems with black women in this society is shame and guilt. Shame of where you come from as compared to other people, and guilt that you have the inability to do something about it. Third is the need to be right. But let's talk about shame and guilt. This is going to be 101 for black females. This is strong medicine for black females. And then my fellow IBMORs, take a seat. Take a seat. Take a time out. Go get you some Gatorade. Go get you some water. Take a time out, because I'm talking to the females right now. Your biggest problem as a black woman in America is shame and guilt. You're ashamed of your skin because of the legacy that it carries. You're ashamed of your color, your hair, and all the other features because of the legacy that it carries. And that even goes for the mulatto class, which we call the light-skinned upper class people. They carry the same thing to a lesser degree in one part and a greater degree in another. It's the shame and the guilt. You're ashamed of your skin. You're ashamed of what it represents in America. And you're guilty that you can't get out of it, and you're guilty that you can't get your children out of it. And okay, I won't get esoteric on it, because that shame and the guilt ruins the material of the vessel, the integrity of the vessel. You need a way to do what? Push that shame and guilt off on somebody else, which happens to be the black man. That's how come you're constantly, and this is not new. This goes all the way back to W. Du Bois when he talking about the Philadelphia Negro. It has always come down to that. You push that shame and guilt onto your man. If you're black women, you should know this. Look, read Toni Morrison's book, The Bluest Eye. She goes through that. She talks about that. She talks about the shame and the guilt. You project, because you're female, you project it outward. You're trying to get it out of the vessel so that the integrity of who you are will stay whole and you can function. Black men turn it inward. That shame and guilt, if they can't get rid of it through work. Whether they earn money or they play basketball or they fight or they shoot each other, whatever it is, they're trying to get rid of it through another way. They're trying to get it out too, but a different way. But it's turned inward with them. That's how come they drink, smoke, and hoe, because it's turned inward with them. But we're talking about women. The shame of the stigma that your skin and your hair and your eyes and your color carry. And the guilt because of your inability to do anything about it. So who do you blame? You blame the black man because he's supposed to be able to cleanse you because he is the light. He's supposed to come in and cleanse you of your shame and your guilt. That's what you believe, and that's what you carry. That's how come you're angry and have been angry for over 150 years at your black mate. Even though you recognize his inability, just like you, to do anything about it. But that doesn't matter. All you want to do is get rid of yours. Now we're going to get to the third one, especially the modern black women. Feminism has catered to you, and has taught you that you are superior, that you are elevated, that we're going to celebrate the feminine. Black community was already a matriarchy. Everybody says that. So for Brooklyn Blue or whatever feminist decides to come along and not say that it's different, they know that they're lying, because it's been documented for 100 and some odd years that the black community was a matriarchy. That's what they were trying to fix. They would not spend billions and billions of dollars trying to fix something that wasn't wrong. The black males the black family already functioned as a patriarchy. They wouldn't have to do it. That's why they were spending all the money. They're not going to spend billions and billions of dollars to fix something that's not broken. It's been documented that the black family was a matriarchy. Anybody that goes back into their own family's history will know it. We have aggressive women. That's the way it is. So that feeds into what? The need to be right. And the need to be right. Well, you marry shame and guilt with the need to be right. Then you have people doubling down on stupid. You have people doubling down on stupid. You have women doubling down on stuff that they know that does not work. It's been documented. You look at the statistics and you still do it because you think you're right instead of finding out the right answer. A woman will disagree with the right answer, and she'll keep knocking on a door until someone tells her what she wants to hear instead of what the right answer was, which she could have got it at the first place. I know that because I've been with more than enough women to tell you that. And she will keep knocking on that doggone door, trying different stuff because she wants to be right until she exhausts all the answers. And then she'll come back 2 or 3 years later, sometimes more than that, humbled and cowed because she wants to admit that she won't even admit she's wrong. She'll ask you what you said 4 or 5 years ago. That's what you're suffering from, sweetie. That's what you're suffering from. And you have the need to be right worse than just about anybody else. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Even if you don't do it in public. Even if you do not do it in public. Because it's not about me being right and you being wrong. Even if you don't do it in public, do it in private and look for the right answers. Help these women. If I didn't think you had enough talent to do it, I wouldn't be taking this time out, making this message as an appeal to you. Just like Chrissy, I saw talent in Chrissy. I saw something in Chrissy. I saw my daughter in Chrissy. That's why I told her what I told her. That's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. You have to heal those 3 things, especially the shame and the guilt that they carry. But you have to deal with it at a core level because you cannot if you cannot look at it, if you cannot look at your failures, if you cannot look at what you're ashamed of and who you are, then you cannot solve the problem. I'm going to give you just a brief something about myself. You know where Westchester High is. Where you went to school, you have to know where Westchester High is. You have to know where Overwright is because where you went to school. You have to know where it is. You have to know, we probably know where Paseo del Rey is. If you know those 3 schools, then you know something about me. I went to school over there when it was like 80% white. You know where the area is. Before they built the condos, I could look off the balcony and I could see Marina del Rey. Like I said earlier in one of my videos, I've been to friends' houses that had more levels on their house than I had rooms in mine, than bedrooms in mine. I was a poor kid. And I've said it before. I was a poor kid, a poor little ghetto kid that just happened to have a high IQ. That's why they chose me to ship me over to basically, I'm not quite a rich, but a very upper middle class school called Westchester, way back in the 60s, back in the 60s, Paseo del Rey, which is right down the street, right over the hill from Westchester High School. And I had to go in and I had to compete with who? Not just working class white folks like you had to when you went out to, where for high school. These are upper class white kids whose parents were doctors and lawyers. In fact, the president of my 5th grade class, his daddy was a jockey at Hollywood Park, little short guy. All these people had a hell of a lot of money. And when I got to middle and high school, the black kids, the 30% or so of black kids that went to that school, guess what area they came from? They didn't come from my side of town. Can we say Windsor Hills, Baldwin Hills, Ladera Heights? You feel me? One of my friends, the guy on the basketball team, he tore up 3 Porsches in high school. A girl I sat next to in homeroom, her godfather was Sidney Poitier. Those are just a couple of the people that I had to go to school with as a poor kid. I had to get over myself really, really quickly because there's no way that my parents, who barely had an 8th grade education, was going to compete against these people. Wasn't going to happen. So I had to get very comfortable in my skin, extremely comfortable in my skin. I couldn't hide the fact that I was poor. I couldn't hide the fact that my parents didn't have very much. There's some days I went to school, I didn't have lunch. But what it did do by the grace of the Creator, what it did do was not only take me out of the ghetto and away from from rough schools where you had to fight every day. You know what I'm talking about. It took me away from it, but it also took my siblings away from it. I'm the oldest of 5 because I went and was bussed out. The rest of my 4 that were under me got the same privilege, even though they didn't have the IQ that I had. But in Los Angeles, well, you probably don't know. In Los Angeles, they call it a sibling pass. In other words, the way they bust in Los Angeles, they like to keep keep the family unit together. In other words, if one kid is bused to a school, the next kid is bused to the school. So when I went, my brother and sister followed the same track. All of them followed basically the same track. So we were all educated. We were all basically not educated in our own home schools. But the thing is, when you face that, you have to get very comfortable in your own skin, because not only are the white folks a lot wealthier than you are, so are the black folks, and they were a hell of a lot wealthier than the folks where you went to school at. How do I know? We'll talk about that at another time. So I had to get over any shame, any guilt, and I definitely had to give up the need to be right. I had to humble myself, and I had to learn. I had to be a better person from the inside. I had to project myself from the inside out because there was nothing coming from the outside in. I had to approach girls whose parents made way more money than I did from the strength of my character. I didn't have enough money to take them to lunch. I didn't have enough money to buy them a soda. So I had to get very, very comfortable in who I was. I had to look at myself in the mirror every day and get very, very comfortable in who I was. I had to go up against kids who had been coached to read and write and whatever since the age of 3 years old. Because of my parents and the schools I went to, I had to teach myself to read. I basically had to teach myself to read. My mother didn't sit there and do homework with me. I had to get very comfortable in my own skin, and I projected that to my children. I had to learn because of the element of my family, because I didn't get a lot of encouragement at home. Let's put it that way. So you don't get a lot of encouragement at home. You got to get bused 10 miles or so to go to school in a different culture. You have to develop a belief in yourself. And you got to get really, really comfortable in your own skin, because you're not going to get it from either side. And the one thing I learned, and the one thing I have lived my entire life, because I've had to, from the time that I was 5 years old, I am no better than anybody else, but nobody's better than me either. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Queen of England, or I don't care if you're some kid, some dude in Guatemala that's sleeping in a shack without running water. They're all the same to me. So it doesn't matter if you're living near Marina Del Rey and you got a tri-level house that overlooks this beach. You are that person to me is exactly the same person as the crackhead walking down the street. I am no better than a crackhead, and that person that multi-millionaire guy is no better than I am. My teacher was one of the greatest men I have ever met. One of the wisest men I have ever met. He drove a Toyota. He lived in a small 2-bedroom house. He wasn't wealthy. I have met guys that are very poor, and I've met guys that are worth $100 million. I think the guy that I met that I knew, I think he was the tops. I've never known personally a billionaire. Not personally. But the guy that I met personally, the wealthiest guy I ever met was worth $100 million. I'm saying that to say this. You got to teach these women to be comfortable in their own skin. You have to develop. Women have a hard time developing from the inside out. One, because they're women, and one, because they're vessels, and vessels are there to be shaped by an external force. So women get shaped by external forces. And it's very difficult to get a woman to see herself from the inside out. It takes a lot of work. I know it because I had to walk my sister through. My sister's a woman. I know it because I had a coworker that's a woman. I had to walk her through it. It's very difficult to get a woman to see herself from the inside out, but it's very powerful when they do it. Men are considered the light, so they project from the inside out. It's very easy. It's easier to get a man to work from the inside out because he knows that's what he has to do, because he has to project force. So in other words, if he doesn't have it within him, it's not going to be genuine. Women is a different dynamic. It's a little bit more difficult. It's a lot more personal. I can do it because I have done it, but it's a lot harder, and it's a lot more personal. And it's better if a woman does it. My grandson, who I'm teaching how to read, 3 years old, I'm teaching him how to read. I'm teaching him how to count, but I'm also teaching him how to add right along with his counting. Because I have to get him to do something uncomfortable. There's a certain amount of will and force that I have to use upon him, and not physical, not necessarily physical, most times not physical. But there's a certain amount of mental force that I had to project upon him to get him to do it. And one, because he's a boy. Where the women where his mother and his grandmother can't do it. One is because it's not their role. And plus they don't necessarily have the mental fortitude to actually do it. Very few black women can't actually do that. Asian women can. Asian women can because it's part of their culture. Asians have a no nonsense culture about their children because they view their children a different way. Black people and black women in particular have a lot more difficult time, especially modern black women that have been catered to by this feminist system. So the thing I need you to do is to study and work. First, you have to work on yourself because you're a mess. You don't know how to work yourself from the inside out. So I know it's difficult for you to teach it, but the thing is, start teaching it, because if you start teaching it, to teach it, you have to learn it. And if you learn it to teach it, your students and the people that your students, your clients, the people, the women that you're helping will get better, and so will you. It's going to be very difficult for me to do it because it's difficult to teach males and females in the same tract. There's a certain way I got to talk to guys. There's a certain timber I have to come with to get guys' attention. There's a certain way of logic that I have to talk to guys. I don't have to teach guys logic. I don't have to teach them logic. All I have to do is show it to them. I don't have to fluff it up with emotion and fluffy pillows and scents and candles and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to fluff it up. I just have to give them the information and give it in digestible form to where they can understand it. And I can actually point them out to the structure of it, because that's what they really want to see. They're interested in the structure. They're interested in getting to the answer. Women are interested in getting to the feeling. So it's a different route that I have to take them. It's very difficult for me to do that while I'm teaching guys. With women, I can tell you, with women, because I've coached girls. With women, it's a twofold policy. I'll give you this one. It's a two-step policy. With women, you have to know when to hug them, and women, you have to know when to kick them. You can't treat them like men. With men, you can kick them as long as you can show them results. They'll run through a wall for you. If you can show them that you're leading them in the right way, they will run through a wall for you. Women will not do that. You have to hug them. You have to hug them. You have to be gentle with them every now and then. That's why the dynamic of mother and father actually work, so that the kids can get what they need from both sides. But if you're teaching, if you're coaching, you don't have that mate. You don't have that other side. You have to know when you have to give them a kick, hurt their feelings, and you have to know when you can hug them. Instead of trying to kick men to get women's attention, get them all fired up, because all you're feeding into is the need to be right. That's what you're feeding them. That's all you're doing when you kicking guys and you calling guys, black men names, and you heaping whatever responsibility that doesn't belong to them onto them. You're feeding right into it. You're not solving the problem. Projecting out the problem out doesn't clean the vessel. You have to actually go in and clean out the material of the vessel and make it better, make it stronger. A vessel's like anything else. Okay, a man might have to be forged out of steel in the flames, pure light, but a vessel has to have some heat to it to harden that clay pot. Why do you think they call women clay? 100 pounds of clay. Harden the clay pot so that it will be strong enough for whatever you're going to put into it. So you have to mold it with your fingers, right? Knead that clay with your fingers, be gentle with it, spin it around and mold it into a shape. But there's somewhere along the line, you have to harden that clay. That clay has to be fired and cooled, and then fired again, and then cooled, and then glazed, and then fired again till it becomes the vessel that you want. It takes a wise woman to know how to do that. But you can't do it unless you put in the work. And if you don't put in the work, you're going to wind up like everybody else. You're going to fall flat on your face with this project. And you won't make a difference. You won't make a difference because you're not doing the work. Do you want to be popular by telling women what they want to hear, or do you want to solve the problem and really want to help? As you can tell, I don't want to be popular. I'm not out here showing my face, telling people who I am, because I need to say what I need to say. And I need to say it the way I need to say it. And I can't do that on a wide enough scale without that. That's why I do it on YouTube. That's why I do it this way, because this information needs to go out the way it needs to go out. So I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I don't care if you think I hate you. In fact, you can hate me all you want. What I need you to do is help my people, help these. If you're going to have them and they're going to follow you, and you're going to lead them, help them. If you want to help them go to the other side of the fence, if that's their desire, help them be better people. So when they get to the other side of the fence, they'll be better people. This is supposed to be short, man. Okay, I've rambled along long enough. Let me wrap. I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, this stuff is epic. Yeah, this is epic. Okay, another epic. I'm starting to see why Sergeant Willie Pete does what he does, because I should have kept this short. Hopefully, I beg the forgiveness of my IBMORs. I'm going to push out. I'll put this in the comment section. I'm gonna push out part 6 of the Negro question. I'm gonna push it out by at least by the end of the night. I'll try to. Assimilations. The assimilation is a big topic, and I won't be able to finish it. I'm not going to be able to finish it in like 3 parts. It's just impossible. I'm not going to be able. I'm going to have to break it up. Assimilation is a very, very big topic because that is the era that we're in now, and it needs more depth to go into the policies of what's going on here. It needs a lot more depth. So I don't know how many parts of the Negro question that assimilation is actually going to take. I wish it could be 3, but I don't think it will be. I think at the very least, I'm gonna need 6 parts for assimilation. So I'm gonna beg forgiveness for my IBMORs for indulging me in this, because I said I would try not to delve into the gender war. But Ms Karazin was kind enough to send me a personal note to let me know that she's listening to me. So I thought that I would give her a proper response. Plus, I hate going back and forth in the comment section. So with that, one other thing before I leave. If you guys listen to the end of this, I don't think you guys are going to make it to the end of this, but what I want to try to do is, since assimilation is going to be the Mohawk conference is going to be part of the assimilation series, because even though it was over 100 years ago, it is a precursor to the assimilation policy in the United States. So what I want to do is go maybe give you 1 or 2 pieces out of the Mohawk conference and then take the Mohawk conference to the book section, to the book channel, so we can actually go through the whole thing and kind of analyze it and disseminate it so we can kind of understand it. Because I do believe the Mohawk conference is probably the beginning of it, and then then you can get into the Philadelphia Negro with Du Bois, and then with Du Bois, it'll be, then the soul of black folks, all that, and then the Negro family, and on to the Moynihan Report, and then on into William Julius Wilson, and other things, and then we can go into gentrification after that, which is the last part of the assimilation, which is current, which is very current. I would like to get to that because that's really, really important. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to edit this down. Hopefully I can edit this down into an hour. Jesus, I rambled. With that, I'll see you guys on the next one.